Welcome back, guys, to Phoenix Wright Justice for All, as order is being brought to the court again as we stick the finger right in Acro's face and say, you did it. Now we're about to bluff and present our reasoning, I guess, despite not knowing concrete it was him, but having 100% of a gut feeling that it was, based on motive and many other things. Let's see how much we can unravel or where the game leads us in that sense. Order, order, calls the judge. What are you getting at? Way to keep them on their toes, Nick. Now I'm going to have to prove how it all fits together. I have to show how Acro murdered Russell Berry. Can you do it, Nick? Can you really do that? I know what I can't do. I can't stop now. If I stop attacking, I'm doomed. Alright, and let's do this. So we have to perform a feasible crime scene in which Acro committed the murder. So, let me postulate straight off the bat here. We have ourselves a third floor window, of which Russell was called to, though indirectly because it probably wasn't meant to be him, it was meant to be Regina. So there was something planned to do here, of which we know Russell was wearing the cape and the hat, but not the white roses. And somehow, the cape got snagged on what I'd say is an item that was pulled upwards, because we've got the whole cape flying thing. The hat thing was just, I guess, to implicate Max, but still, it's because, of course, criminal doesn't want to be caught. So we're looking for a heavy object dropped from a high height, because it's what was done, really, more or less. He was hit with a heavy object. So let's try and see where the game goes. That's the theory. Mr. Phoenix Wright, if this witness is the killer, then his eyewitness account is all lies, right?
Mr. Wright, I'd like to clear something up for me. When the crime was committed, exactly where was Mr. Dingling?
Okay, well, he'd have to be in his room because he can't leave his room. Though I'm pretty sure he could if he wanted to, just from arm strength alone. He was obviously here the entire time.
Well, that's Acro's room.
Pretty simple, eh? Acro wasn't able to leave the lodging house by himself. In that case, there can be only one correct answer. Acro didn't leave his room to kill the ringmaster. What? Are you nuts?
What say you, Mr. Dingling?
Calm. Collected. With the animals, as it were.
It's an interesting theory.
That's it?
Considering that what you proposed is impossible, yes, that's it.
So we didn't really get anything out from him.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor?
As the witness has stated, your assertion is impossible. As he is in a wheelchair, there is no way he could go to the scene or be the killer.
But there was no one at the scene. One set of footprints is also another large piece of evidence. You've got a point. It seems you've forgotten once again, Mr. Phoenix Wright. The defendant was clearly spotted at the scene of the crime. That's true. Mo said when he saw Max, didn't he? Yeah, but without the roses and the hat thing, we proved like a lot of his testimony was a bit bogus. No shoes is really a good tell as well. But then, of course, they wouldn't have necessarily shown us that image. But Mayor, it's still impossible for humans to fly. Do you mind if I ask a question, Mr. Wright? What is it?
I understand some of your logic. However, how do you think that I killed him? If I can't leave my room, I obviously couldn't wear Max's costume.
How did he do it? That's the next course of this legal buffet. Be careful, Nick. If you mess up here... She's right. I can't mess up here. I've got to give this one some serious thought. I'm sure that Acro killed the ringmaster. And he did it while he was in his room. No doubt about it.
Time to enlighten us as to how Mr. Dingley committed the crime, Mr. Wright.
Well, it's not such a big penalty, for starters. But obviously, I've got to present something here. Otherwise, he's just going to say I'm just guffawing. I'm going to present some evidence.
So what did Mr. Dingling use to commit the crime of murder against Russell Berry?
Well...
It was him!
We got two things with us that are kind of like heavy objects.
when we got the wooden box, and when we've got a missing thing with a piece of evidence here, and when you're out of evidence, use the one piece that hasn't been used. Isn't that one of the rules we've got in the game? Which actually, oh my goodness, thinking about it, it doesn't have any white roses, but it completes the top hat thing that everyone saw. It's got to be that.
Take that! What's that? A picture?
It is indeed. The problem is with the item that's shown in the picture.
The bust?
It's quite a large bust, and because it is life-size, it is also very, very heavy. Heavy? Heavy enough to guarantee a certain death. Especially if it was dropped from a third-story window. We are on the right track still. It's the only possible outcome, really. Which leaves the wooden box in a very prominent position as well. Ah! We are on the right track for sure. That face. See? This is how Acro was able to kill the Ringmaster. With the force of gravity and Maximilian Galactica's ample bust. Maybe I shouldn't have put it that way.
Order! So you're saying the bust fell onto the Ringmaster?
A rather simple crime. Even if you were stuck in a wheelchair, it would be incredibly easy to commit.
Objection!
How could you possibly wheel a wheelchair with something so heavy? It's impossible!
Objection!
Well, Acro is an acrobat. He should have more than enough upper body strength to carry something like the bust. Plus the wheelchair should have enough to support that weight as well, even with him in it. Stress testing these things.
Mr. Dingling, how do you respond to these charges?
He's not happy. Well, Acro's at a loss for words. He should be. He knows that I'm getting close to the truth. Well, Acro. You can't run away from things this time. Ow!
I'd watch what I say if I were you, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What? Your Honor, the physical health of the witness is material to this case. I demand that we get proper testimony from the witness himself, more.
I thought I was on the right track. I thought I was breaking him down.
Testimony, you say?
On Karma. She's just using this testimony as a rouse to stall for time. A ruse even. There's absolutely no need for such testimony.
Objection!
The defense has its version of the murder. The prosecution has the right to respond.
I feel that's fair if you treat me just as fairly all the time and stop trying to skip ahead, hey?
The defense's objection is overruled.
Why can't he see things my way once in a while?
Mr. Dingling, I'm sorry, but we need you to testify about your physical condition. If you have any doubts about your ability to testify, we can request expert testimony.
The witness will have no problems. However, let's all be respectful towards him.
Thank you. That woman will sink to any low to win a case. And probably has prepared statements, just in case. What are we going for here, I wonder? Press. I suppose I could have lifted something the size of that bust. I have a strong upper body from working as an acrobat, and only my legs were injured. However, lifting the bust and looking out of the window would have been impossible. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. That makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the Ringmaster's head. Thus, it would be unrealistic for me to drop the bust on him, don't you think? Not really unrealistic if things are set up.
I have no doubt in regards to this witness's testimony.
It was impossible for him to lift the bust and stick himself out far enough to look. Not to mention that he could not have known the location of the Ringmaster's head. A single false step would have led to even more severe injuries.
That's what I was thinking. What is your opinion on the matter, Mr. Wright?
Let me cross-examine, thank you. I still like to proceed with my cross-examination.
He's simply stalling. It's shameful, really.
I can't let it get to me. I've got to focus. I think I already know the statement I'm after, though. I suppose I could have lifted something the size of that bust. Well, I suppose you could have. I said that. I have a strong upper body from working as an acrobat. Only my legs were injured. Yes, we agree. However, lifting the bus and looking out the window would have been impossible. Now here's... Let's just learn. And why is that? Because if I were to do that, I'd end up falling out the window myself. I still haven't gotten much feeling back in my legs yet. I do wonder if you could have anchored yourself somehow. So you couldn't have thrown that bus out of the window? Or jimmied some mirrors? That's another way. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. Should we take that as a given then? That makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the ringmaster's head.
Hold it!
Now, here. Why'd you say it would be impossible? Allow me to explain. You accept that if I was carrying the bust, I couldn't see out below the window? Thus, there is no way that I would know the location of the ringmaster's head. If only I could find some mirrors. Well, I suppose you got a point.
Hey, Nick.
Huh?
What if you turn things around? Maybe you think of it sort of like this.
I've got it already, Mayor.
If he knew the location of the ringmaster's head, then he could drop the bust.
Remembering the ringmaster was probably not likely his target. It does make sense. If only I could prove somehow. Indeed. Acro knew the location of the ringmaster's head without looking down. I think I've already explained things sufficiently. Plus, it would be unrealistic for me to drop the bus on him, don't you think? Let's go for this one. Already placed in the snow, because there was no drag marks. This thing was here for a while. And it was heavy, supposedly. £20 box. It boasts a small but strong lock. What do you reckon?
Objection!
Waiting for someone to try to unlock it. Acro. You didn't really need to lean out of the window, did you? What are you driving at, Mr. Wright? You already knew ahead of time where the ringmaster's head was going to be. Quite precisely, I may add.
Objection! Your silly hintings at things is pointless, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Enough stalling. How about you show us some evidence?
But I did such a good job hinting, and I think I've got it unraveled in my brain now. Yes. Hurry up and explain things, Mr. Wright. I really do.
Maybe you should take a look at this.
The key point here is the wooden box. The same wooden box that the victim was found hunched over? The same. The question is, who placed the wooden box here?
Who?
When Ben and company saw the ringmaster, they didn't see him holding the box. Which means this wooden box was already placed at the scene of the crime. The snow is more the correct attestation of that. I have to admit that your theory makes a lot of sense. The moment that the bus came falling down was exactly the same moment that the ringmaster lifted up this wooden box. Which means that the answer to all these questions is now crystal clear.
You mean...
If the bust were to fall upon the point marked out by the wooden box, there would be no way that it could miss the head of the victim.
No!
And then pulled back up, stacking a cape. Order! This is unbelievable! Finally, some of these loose ends are starting to tie themselves up. Now I just gotta keep going. There's only one way to go from here. Well, yeah, forward. That makes perfect sense, Phoenix. Well done. So the next question I have is, who placed that wooden box at the scene? Well, it has to be Acro again. It just can't be anyone. It was Mr. Dingling, of course. He connected it to a rope, and then all he had to do was lower it down. Ow!
Allow me to whip some sense into you. Mr. Phoenix Wright. Ow! The ringmaster's head could have been anywhere when he lifted the box.
That's why the box was so specially made.
Specially made?
Indeed. It had the most peculiar feature. Was it the size of the box, the weight of the box, or the contents of the box? I'd say, considering that the weight is lifted, it couldn't be picked up and taken out. A small but strong lock is another feature as well. I say the weight of the box is the important thing, but I'm not too sure. Weight or size? It caused him... It's both, but it must be mainly the weight. The size probably contributed. The box has a remarkable weight. Weight? According to the court record, it weighs 20 pounds. Just to lift up this wooden box would have required... Oh, I see. One would have to squat down and lift it up with their body, wouldn't you say? That's exactly what I was trying to point out. The box is also very large. The box also has carrying handles on either side, doesn't it? That is correct. To lift up the box, you'd have to squat down. Which means that no matter who you are, your head would be in approximately the same place. Fool! But he's still calm. Does he even bother to listen to me anymore? I've heard what you've had to say. I must admit, I'm shocked at your imaginative skills. Did you do it? Did you place this wooden box in the plaza? Mr. Wright may have a vivid imagination, but I could never have done what he's proposing. What? Mr. Wright, do you recall the original location of Max's bust? Of course I remember. It was on top of the table in the cafeteria. Then what happened to it? I'd like you to remember one important fact, Mr. Wright. I cannot possibly leave the lodging house by myself. That means... You understand what I mean, don't you? I may very well have been able to drop the bus from my room. However, how would I have gotten the bus from the cafeteria to my room? That's a problem.
You see, Mr. Phoenix Wright, explain that. Don't forget, you said there was no accomplice.
That's how I feel, not what he's probably saying.
Tell us exactly how the witness would have carried the bus from the cafeteria.
Yep, we definitely have a problem here. This is no place to get perplexed. I've got to get my wits about me and prove how things happen once and for all. Alright, Mr. Wright, let's hear your explanation. How did the witness get the bus from the cafeteria back to his room in its evidence or profile? Right. Well, it's obviously not the map.
Not a human accomplice then, but he gathers all types of shiny objects. I imagine the bust itself has some shine to it. But is he strong enough to carry that? I mean, we can see the shiny. He loves shiny. But could the monkey have done that? Well, it's the only limb we have to go out on. And it's also something we haven't presented.
Take that!
A monkey! It's the only link as well. Everyone knows Money. He loves shiny objects of any size. Oh, like when he stole the ventriloquist ring.
So, are you saying the witness had a monkey steal the bust?
Of course he didn't order the monkey to steal it. The monkey stole it on his own, and then brought it back home. Strong monkey. It is what we're going for, though. And Acro knows it. Home! Money lives in Acro's room. Acro's room!
Objection!
But the bust was bronze, wasn't it? Bronze isn't all that shiny.
Objection!
The cards. Maybe you should put the whip down sometimes and read the court record. My, those are some very nice cards he's holding.
Yes, and they are made of platinum.
Which is very shiny.
Gwah!
Okay then. Acro. Money is a strong monkey, right? It'd be easy for him to bring the bust back to your room. If he wasn't able to handle that himself, I'd be on the market for a new roommate. Okay. Order, order! I said order! Miss Von Karma! Where is the bust in question at this moment?
I don't know. We're searching for it as we speak.
This is a rather strange turn of events. But let's say that the monkey had not stolen the bust. What would have happened then? Well, in that event, something else would have been used as the murder weapon.
Wait. Then you mean this bust was the murder weapon? Purely by accident?
It's possible. It really is, because he's got weights up there and other things. Anything could have been dropped in the end to make this crime truly possible. He'd already set up the thing. We don't know when exactly. Didn't he steal it that morning? I can't remember at this point in time. But we'll continue along with this line of testimony, this line of inquiry, next time on Phoenix Wright, Justice for All. Join me then! We're getting closer to a conclusion. Bye-bye.